But I leave it there for the more curious question. Can Narendra Modi's BJP sweep a Muslim majority state? Can the BJP make a dent in Jammu and Kashmir so it can claim it is now a pan-national party? That's the question we are examining in the first ever poll survey that has been done by NewsX Sunday Guardian. And see voter on decision 2014 is the big election coming up in Jammu and Kashmir. Mission 44 for the BJP. Before I get you the much awaited numbers, how close are they to 44? Let's have a look at the methodology. We managed to poll about 12,000 people in the past 2 weeks of the first 2 weeks of November. There's an error margin, as you can see on your screens, of plus minus 3%. There have been people polled from every single constituency, of course, in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. That's how we've done it. Here are the numbers. Have a look at the numbers that are going to pop up on your screens. The final figures coming in. 17 the Congress got in 2008. The flashing red is what's happening in 2014, looking very bad. If you're all looking at the BJP numbers, 27 short of that 44 mark, not even sweeping the region of Jammu quite completely. The NCB, the big loser, and the PDP. The bottom line from those numbers is that no one's hitting the 44 mark as per this survey. The BJP is within sniffing distance of being the single largest party, which is the interesting connotation. Those are the numbers. How does this turn into vote share, or how does the reverse happen, the vote share that dealt those numbers on your screens? Have a look at the swings. Minus 12% for the NC, a gain of 11% for the PDP, but look at the BJP's figure, a 21% gain in vote share. Those are the facts and figures. We've also put 6 questions to the people on Jammu and Kashmir. But before that, let me introduce our panel tonight to break down these numbers for us. Our executive editor, Kartikeya Sharma, is there. Senior journalist, Veer Sanghvi, as well as Nalin Mehta. I've got political analyst Veer Sanghvi, and representing, of course, the BJP will be GVL Narasimha Rao in a couple of minutes. I've also got Sheikh Abdul Qayyum, who's a journalist, joining us from Srinagar. Let me break it down one by one. Veer Sanghvi, 20-odd seats, 27 seats for the BJP. That's not even taking all the seats in Jammu. Have they sent out a confused signal on all these issues when it came to Article 370, when it came to talking to separatists? Has that confused signal hurt that consolidation in Jammu that could have really got them all 36 there?
I think so. I think there is clearly an anti-incumbency wave, and I think the NC and the Congress are suffering. Whoever's around is picking it up. It's not dissimilar in some ways to Maharashtra, that the BJP had hoped that they would pick up much more than the PDP, that every Hindu in J&K would vote for them, judging by these figures. And I have to emphasize that these are just opinion poll figures and could well be wrong. That's not happening.
Okay, that's not happening. Nalin Mehta, it's not happening. I mean, 27, of course, is a great show, but is it an emphatic enough show for Modi to claim that he has triumphed in a Muslim majority state?
2 very quick points. If your survey is correct, and I'd like to emphasize that, just as Veer was saying, that's more or less on par with the performance of the BJP in the Lok Sabha election. In the Lok Sabha election, the BJP won 3 out of 6 Lok Sabha seats.
Yes.
But if you translate that into assembly seats, that translated into about 27 out of the 87 seats. So this is more or less on par with that. The BJP also, in terms of vote share, was the single largest vote-getting party in the Lok Sabha election, slightly about 32%. And your vote swing there is showing basically the same kind of analogy. I think the BJP's Mission 44, that semantics, Modi himself talked about a saffron revolution in inverted commas when he last went to Kashmir. The BJP senses its opportunity. It certainly sees this as a game-changing election. But getting up to the halfway mark, that would always going to be a bridge too far. What it's trying to do is to replace the Congress as the natural national party in Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, 37 seats in Jammu. That was supposed to be the bread and butter for the BJP. They got 24 seats if you do the computation of the Lok Sabha with a 48.2% vote share. The remaining, of course, going to the NC and Congress, Kartikeya. That's the problem for the BJP. It had to be almost all of those 37 and hope to get a couple of more in the valley. But all of those 37 are not happening in Jammu. And is it because of this confused signal? You have VK Singh talking about roping into the separatists into the mainstream. Has that hurt a little bit?
No, I don't think so. You see, the party which is principally going to gain in the south and the north Kashmir is going to be the PDP. NC has been principally strong in North Kashmir. Now, Farooq Saab is completely out of action. He's not in India. Now, this is a lone battle for Umar Abdullah. So, PDP has consolidated everything which Congress and NC is losing in the Bari. Now, the real issue for Bharatiya Janata Party is as to how they can gain some roads in the hilly parts of Jammu, which is Rajouri, Poonch, Kishtewar, which they did very well in Lok Sabha elections, and then Turtuk, Batalik in Kargil areas, which is Shia dominated, and the constituency of Ladakh, which will give you 2 extra MLAs from there.
Yes.
That's where the real battle for Bharatiya Janata Party
won by 36 votes in the Lok Sabha.
But I really don't think that Bharatiya Janata Party is going to play a major role when it comes to odd 40 seats in the valley.
Okay, not a major role, enough of a role by promising enclaves and others, perhaps not. Let me bring in Samir Kaul of the PDP. Samir Kaul of the PDP, the obvious question, if it's a hung parliament by these numbers, and if we accept them and work on the premise for now, for the next few minutes, let's work on this premise, Samir Kaul, will you do business with Narendra Modi? Okay, I'm going to get Samir Kaul of the PDP back. Bad news for the Congress there, of course, expected. Let me pull in Tehseen. Tehseen, the Congress has been the fall guy in the state. Omar Abdullah has been bashing you for not removing ASPA while you've been sitting, of course, the Congress has been sitting in government in J&K, lose-lose. Dumped Omar Abdullah or he dumped the Congress, but it's been lose-lose for the Congress all the way.
So the question
is,
Tehseen? The question is, I've not understood what the question is.
That's the statement. Give us your perspective.
Why should I give a perspective what Omar Abdullah says? He's entitled to campaign how he
wants.
Has
it been a lose-lose for the Congress?
No, because your opinion poll, and if I were to go by your opinion poll, says the Ghulam Nabi Azad led government was the best government by the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah, I'm coming to those questions.
Yeah,
I'll ask you specifically on those questions incidentally, but that popularity rating for Azad's government, 1.5 years in power, is not translating into votes. Answer that.
All right. So if that's not translating into votes, what will then translate into votes for the Congress? The fact that the BJP keeps doing U-turns on every single issue. It came into power in its agenda saying 370 needs to be scrapped. Now it goes about saying, and its leader Hina Bukhari goes about saying that if it's scrapped, she'll be the first leader to pick up the gun. The fact that they keep talking about, they keep coming in, they said in Maharashtra that they will have no alliance with the National Corrupt Party, but now they've come in and hoping to ride on the PDP. So the fact is the BJP day by day is losing credibility. I give it to the BJP that they did well in the Lok Sabha elections. The assembly is a totally different ballgame. And the first time I disagree with Nalin is, the fact is the Congress is the only party that will pick up votes both in Kashmir and in Jammu.
Okay.
It's got a presence there. The BJP will not pick up votes in Kashmir.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Nalin, go ahead.
A quick point. The fact is that even in the Lok Sabha election, the BJP picked up basically its vote share in Jammu, which accounts for 37 seats out of 87, right?
Yeah.
What the BJP is doing now is it's focusing on Jammu and Ladakh, which is another 4 seats. In the valley, out of the 46 seats, the BJP is particularly focusing on 5 specific seats. It's depending on the Kashmiri Pandit vote bank to come back a little bit, and it's also sort of betting on the fact that because of the separatist boycott, the vote shares will come down. It's being very smart in terms of the ground situation.
But he's right. No, he's absolutely right, except for the one spoke in the plan. What has the BJP done since 6 months for the Kashmiri Pandits? The Congress was the one that gave money for their rehabilitation, 1,800 crores.
Let Veer Sanghvi take on this.
So the fact is,
Veer Sanghvi, has it been worth it? Has it been worth it? You know, suddenly diluting this stand on Article 370. That debate has sort of been quietly buried. You have very senior people in government talking about making deals with separatists and putting them into the mainstream. Has it been worth it? Has the damage in Jammu, perhaps that might have caused, been worth it to make an impact in the valley and to convert Jammu and Kashmir into for the BJP?
It's very difficult to say because the calculation, though we keep saying, will they get a majority in a Muslim majority state, and does this mean they're a national party? What they've actually always done is polarize the votes, so the Hindus vote for them, the Pandits in the valley and the Hindus in Jammu, and have not paid much attention to the Muslims. They are hoping this time that by building some bridges with some of the ex-separatists, as they now call them, they will make some inroads with the vote. But it's a very dangerous game, because once you go to bed with separatists, you risk alienating your basic Hindu vote bank. And I'm not sure the BJP struck the right balance.
Okay, not sure the BJP. Nalin, you want to make a point?
I just want to make a quick point. What's interesting to me is that more than 40% of the BJP's candidates in Jammu and Kashmir this time are Muslims.
Yes.
Now, that's not surprising given the makeup of the valley, but it is significantly higher than the Muslim representation among BJP candidates in most of the states, including in Maharashtra.
Let me pull in the PDP.
Okay.
I'm just coming to you. I want to get Samir Kaul on the PDP. He's with us on the broadcast now. Samir Kaul, on the premise, and I'll have to ask you to stick to the premise of these numbers in which we've given the PDP 31 as per this poll and the BJP 27. 31 is a long way short of the 44 that you need to form a government. Straight question, will you think of doing business with Narendra Modi's BJP?
I'm not in it. I'm not in agreement, first of all, with your numbers that you're producing. I don't think it is anywhere near the actual figures that are on the ground. I think that this 31 and all is and 24. I think you are cutting it too fine, and I don't think that is what the situation on the ground is. But as far as doing business is concerned, any time business with nationalists, with parties which are in the mainstream, parties which don't polarize, parties which are secular, why not? I mean,
Okay.
if any of the parties falls within that range and we need to do business,
Is it a yes or no?
I don't see why it
Yes
should
or
not.
no?
So you put some very interesting epithets. You suggested that parties don't polarize, parties in the mainstream. Which parties qualify as the non-polarizing types for you, Samir?
But I feel at the moment, both of them fall in the same category, and I don't really see a lot of difference between the two. They're both trying to polarize voters on both sides of the tunnel, the Jawahar tunnel, while BJP is trying to do it in Jammu. Congress is trying to work on the fringes and see what they can get out of it. But
Okay.
let me tell you very clearly, I think your voter poll that you have done, I frankly speaking feel that it is, and
Okay,
that's what
so let me sum that up if I can, Dr. Samir Kaul. Let me sum that up. You are hoping to do better, obviously.
Actual figures on the ground.
Yeah, you're hoping to do better, obviously, which political party would not, but you're saying it's okay, we might just do business with the BJP. Veer Sanghvi, your thoughts? The PDP
It's
looking
not
at
clear
real
to me,
politics?
frankly, it's not clear to me what he's saying. He is saying that he's very happy to do business with a nationalist, secular party that does not polarize
And he's
voters.
also said that both parties
Hang
qualify as
on, let
those.
me finish. Now that's fine, that's reasonable, that's fine. But then when you ask him more specifically, he says the Congress polarizes and the BJP polarizes. So if they're both polarizing parties and you only want to do business with non-polarizing parties, who are you going to link up with? The
Okay,
Republican
Samir Kaul,
Party?
take that. If they're both polarizing parties, then who's the nationalist mainstream party that doesn't polarize?
Well, that's what the dilemma at the moment is. But we are hoping that we really don't need to take any crutches.
Okay, all right, Kartiki, you've been wanting to come in. Go ahead.
Rishabh, the bottom line is that the PDP had a government in Delhi. Mufti Saab was the chief minister, and they had support from the Congress party. Then Congress had an alliance with NC post polls, and then you had an NC in Congress. So there is no, the PDP is not going to have any dilemma, moral dilemma in case they fall short of numbers and if they have to take support from the Congress. Yeah. But the larger issue in the valley is that it's not an election versus local parties versus BJP. BJP is not an untouchable. You have to understand that both Omar and Mehbooba Mufti are mentally prepared to engage with Bharatiya Janata Party.
Yes.
That's the hard fact. When I interviewed both of them, not a single word came against Narendra Modi.
So his reality is dawning.
All these parties are positioning themselves post-elections, because unless and until you have a meaningful relationship with Delhi, you cannot run a proper government
Let
in
me
Delhi.
bring in Sheikh Abdul Qayyum. Sir, you got your ear on the ground. In Jammu and Kashmir, everyone will do business with Narendra Modi if required. Is that your assessment as well?
You see, first of all, let me put this whole discussion into perspective. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, we can. Go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear.
We have to see these elections in light, in the backdrop of 2008 elections. 2008 elections, the BJP got 11 seats, and mind you, that was the time when the state stood completely polarized because of the Ambarnath land row agitation. 11 is the largest number the BJP has ever got in the 87-member state legislative assembly. So that 11 came when Jammu and the valley stood completely divided on the issue of allotment of forest land to the Ambarnath Shrine Board. So if they get to 25 or to 27, as this opinion poll says, the BJP would have fulfilled its ambition of getting
Okay, so you're saying 25, 27 enough.
formation.
Okay. All right, I just want to open this up because
what
I
I mean to
promised we had
say-
asked the people of Kashmir some straightforward questions also. Go ahead, Nalin. Meanwhile, my producer will pull up the
I was saying, in the past month or so, Ram Madhav and JP Nadda have been doing the rounds in Jammu and Kashmir. They've been meeting an entire cross-section of people, including people who many would consider beyond the pale from a nationalist point of view. And like Karthik, I agree with him, these people are not considering it beyond the realm of possibility to at least be meeting Ram Madhav and JP Nadda, and they're not ashamed about it. So there is a lot happening below the surface. Second point, in the past 3 months, 7 new political parties have been registered in Jammu and Kashmir, in addition to the number 8 or 9 or 10 other political parties beyond these 3 or 4 that you mentioned here.
Yes.
And that figure of the others, 10, that's going to be very significant.
A lot of this election is going to be fought, numbers could change in that range. Okay, I want to put out some of the questions before I come back to my panelists. Some of the questions. We've asked 6, I'm going to put out the first 5. The first is, we asked the question, which according to you is the most popular in the past? Which is the most popular state government? Ghulam Nabi Azad led government of the Congress-NCP alliance at that point of time, 38% at number 1. 24% say that all were bad. And of course, Farooq Abdullah and Omar Abdullah not very popular. Mufti Muhammad Saeed getting about 19% of the votes. I'll leave you to ponder on that. And I want to take the next 4 questions because these are more telling. How serious is the issue of price rise and inflation? Very serious, say 71%. That's within any statistical margin of error. Let's pull out those graphics as well. Price rise, inflation, 71% say that's the serious issue. Corruption is the next question we asked. Corruption was the next question we asked. How serious is the issue of corruption? 87% said. 87% said that corruption is a very serious issue. Then the more obvious ones. Terrorism. How serious is the issue of terrorism? 59%. See the fall? 70, 87, 59%. How important was flood rehab for you? 54% said it's a very serious issue for them. So interestingly, corruption and inflation, and consequently, Veer Sanghvi, therefore governance and the perceived corruption of the NC Congress alliance is hurting.
Yeah, well, 2 things. One is that welcome to the mainstream. If you did a poll anywhere else in India, you'd get the same results on corruption and all of that. But the second point I want to make, and this is an important point, is that I've been doing this for a long time. In every single opinion poll, in every single election over the last 30 years that I've covered, you ask people what is the #1 problem, they always say corruption and they always say price rise. So it's nice for us in the studio to get agitated about it, but these are standard questions and standard responses. The most significant response for me is the fact that flood rehabilitation is only 54% think it's very serious. I would have thought that would be more.
Okay, that could be more, but is it telling? Is it telling of the mainstream thought, Naren?
Absolutely. If you look at the BJP's campaign slogan in this election, they are talking about "Abki baar Modi ke saath," and the second line is that badle Jammu and Kashmir ke halat, beat Bhajpa ke saath. So they are basically, it's an extension of the kind of macro positioning they've done in Maharashtra, even in Haryana. So I agree with Veer on that. But I think what's significant to me looking at your questions is that the second most important leader after, well, among the most popular state governments has been Ghulam Nabi Azad's government. And also the fact that the second most important, the best J&K chief minister, the second is Ghulam Nabi Azad. Yes. I think that reflects what we saw in the Lok Sabha election where the Congress was the second highest vote share in Jammu and Kashmir,
yes,
but won no seats. So while it does have residual pockets of influence, and this survey shows that, it just doesn't seem to have the momentum on the ground.
And
others have taken on that momentum.
Yeah, and you wanted to make this point earlier, Tehseen, residual pockets, Ghulam Nabi Azad, then what's happened? You just let Omar hit at you for too long and you sort of destroyed each other.
Look, the fact is the Lok Sabha election is completely different from an assembly election. So yes, while the Congress may have been the second highest vote, may have had the second highest vote share, did not translate into Lok Sabha seats because of the first past the post system. The first past the post system also exists in the assembly seats, but the demarcation are completely different. Point number 1. Point number 2 is the Congress is the only party that has a vote base intact both in Kashmir and in Jammu. No other party boasts of that. Last point. How do you expect the core BJP vote or the core BJP vote to trust the BJP when it does chai pe charcha with those it until 6 months ago called anti-nationals? Point being, you broke diplomatic ties with Pakistan because they spoke to the separatists, whereas your leaders, whether it's Ram Madhav or JP Nadda, are doing chai pe charcha with these so-called anti-nationals. So what stand does the BJP have? The fact is, don't you think that the core BJP vote will also ask questions of the BJP leadership? The last point being, as what have they done for the Kashmiri Pandits?
But Yasin, wouldn't you consider the fact that there's nothing that changes a game like the prospect of power, and the fact that the categories that you're talking about, which were beyond the pale earlier, those perhaps don't matter anymore. That's the lesson which the Congress hasn't learned.
I want to answer that. One second. That is precisely the point I'm making, that the question of power changes the game. 6 months ago, people thought that the BJP would bring about a change. I think that has been exposed significantly in Jammu and Kashmir more than anywhere else.
I just want to focus this on some takeaways for our viewers to break down the results that we have. I'm going to ask my producers to put those graphics up on your screens before we delve a little bit on what's at stake. I began the show by saying, can Narendra Modi's BJP form a government in a Muslim majority province? How important is that, Veer Sanghvi, from a takeaway? Is that why the BJP is actually trying so hard in J&K?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's terribly important. It's very important if the Muslim majority areas all vote for Narendra Modi, and then yes, he can emerge as the great leader. But history has shown us that wherever there is communal polarization, the BJP does well because the Hindu vote gets consolidated. So I don't think this is necessarily historic. It's just the same thing that's happened every time playing itself out again.
What's the prestige value?
I think for the BJP to emerge from basically being completely a bit player into a significant player, if not the single largest player in this election, that does have symbolic value. And what it does with that, it will go a long way for the BJP into dealing with the opprobrium of the fact that they can't deal with Muslim minorities. And how it does in J&K and how it evolves its policies, especially on 370 and how it deals with that on the ground, it does have a lot of value.
Let me get in Samir Kaul. Samir Kaul, the BJP has indeed, they've buried the Article 370 debate. They haven't mentioned it much. You had VK Singh, a former army chief, going to the valley, standing next to Hina Bhatt, who threatened to pick up the gun if Article 370 is removed, and said that separatists should be brought into the mainstream. So clearly the BJP has toned it down for J&K. It has, and that's what's making the impact perhaps in areas where they've never been before.
Well, I doubt it despite the contradictions that it has got into in the Kashmir Valley particularly, I don't think they're going anywhere much, and I think BJP on the whole is potentially the largest opposition party in the state after the elections.
Okay, potentially the largest opposition party in the state after elections.
Or his ally.
Or his ally. That's if they decide not to.
And he has been very shifty about that question.
Okay.
No, I want to make a point here.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Qayyum, go ahead.
The point is, if you will have to go back to understand what did the BJP president say when they decided to announce 44 plus plan. He said, we want to have controlling stakes in J&K. And I am afraid that this exit poll, this opinion poll or any other poll predicts a controlling stake for the BJP in J&K politics in the coming elections.
All right,
they will definitely have a controlling stake here.
Okay.
Yes, and number two, whosoever wants to make a government here, I am afraid may not be able to do so without the support of the BJP.
Okay, all right.
You know, Rishabh, you made a very relevant point. If you look at all these political parties that Naren was talking about, they were like Aam Aadmi Party. I spoke to a couple of top BJP leaders, and they feel that these political outfits will cut into PDP's vote. Suppose you cut into PDP's vote, you don't allow the consolidation of anti-incumbency against NC, which will be going to PDP, which means that BJP will have larger policy say when it comes to the values.
Before I give Samir Kaul a chance to respond to that, GVL Narasimha Rao on the broadcast with me. GVL,
which happened with Chiranjeevi in 2009.
Straightforward question. 37 seats in Jammu, GVL Narasimha Rao. We are predicting only 27 of those are going to the BJP. This seems to suggest that all the backpedaling you've done on Article 370, on the enclaves, on various issues with Pakistan, it seems, and of course talking with separatists, that's hurting you in Jammu, GVL Narasimha Rao.
I think this is all media's speculation. There has been no change in the stance of the BJP. I have on your own program repeatedly asserted that as far as the BJP is concerned, we stand by we continue to affirm the same stand that we have had with regard to Jammu and Kashmir. But the media does try and look for some aberrations where none exist. I think even
Sir, can I ask you a question, please? Sir, your candidate, Dr. Hina Bhatt, has been quoted as saying that she'll pick up a gun if Article 370 is abrogated. She's a BJP candidate. Now, how do you respond to that? What is your response to your
don't
own
say personal
candidate?
opinion. Don't say personal opinion.
Let me say, no, she had actually withdrawn her statement. She said she did not, she withdrew her own statement.
Okay.
One second.
She fell back in the party line, so there is nothing. I think
Okay, just 1 second before I let you, but let me ask you on the figures. 27 out of 37.
You refuse to.
Okay, GVL, speak on the numbers for a second. 27 out of 37. That's a disappointment. That's not near 44. That's not even single largest party. Is that enough?
No. That is number one. It's a sample survey. It's a projection which shows we are actually sweeping in the Jammu region. I think no poll really initially gave us the numbers that we've got in Haryana. No poll gave us nationally 282 seats.
Okay.
All of you.
One last question before Tehseen wants to come in. GVL Narasimha Rao, will you, if you're not headed to be the single largest party and it's very unlikely that you'll get the balance 14, 15 odd seats from the valley, will you be happy to sit in the opposition having done well, or will you be looking to strike a deal?
I think we are certainly, we are confident of getting the numbers. There is no question of not getting a majority. We will pick up some seats in the valley. We will pick up a good number of seats in the valley, much against
will you speak to Mehbooba Mufti, GVL? Will you do a deal with Mehbooba Mufti?
I don't think there is a need to really take anybody. You see, this is like again going back to April, May 2014. All of you were asking us, will you go with Janata Dal United? Will you go with DNK? All these parties ended up getting...
All right. It's only hubris if we fail. All right. Okay. Tehseen wants to make a point. Okay, GVL, hold on. Tehseen, go ahead.
May I remind GVLG about Maharashtra? This is Maharashtra 2.0 repeating, but that's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make is something else. Modi ji met, you all said National Corrupt Party anyways. The point is, Modi ji met Sajjad Lone. He hasn't met the Kashmiri Pandits at his house. He's rehabilitating separatists rather than rehabilitating Kashmiri Pandits. Don't you think somewhere the BJP is doing a complete U-turn on its politics?
GVL Narasimha Rao, that's a fair point. You're talking about getting separatists into the mainstream. What happened to rehabilitating the Kashmiri Pandits?
It's only the BJP which had really espoused the cause of Kashmiri Pandits. I think the Congress has absolutely no local standard even to speak on this issue. So the views of the Kashmiri Pandits are well crafted into the BJP's policy. We have always supported their cause.
Tehseen,
so there is no need.
Tehseen, the Congress has no business talking about the
But the Congress in the budget gave 1800 crores. They gave 50 crores. That shows itself.
Okay,
that
shows
shows
I'm running out of time. I want to take some big takeaways.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm running out of time. I want to take big takeaways. What's at stake? Veer Sanghvi, I'll start with you.
Well, I just want to say that to start with, the idea that they're talking to separatists or ex-separatists is not as outrageous as some people would think. When Mrs. Gandhi opened a dialogue, Indira Gandhi, with Sheikh Abdullah in the 1970s, the same sort of criticisms were applied, and ultimately it brought stability to Kashmir. So I don't think we should be too critical of the BJP. Okay. I think the BJP's problem is this. It is going to try and make a play for some kind of national role in Kashmir. It's going to pose as statespeople. You can't really be statespeople when you've been till now a sort of Hindu party which has continually bashed Kashmiri separatists, has said let's get rid of Article 370. There are too many contradictions there, and they're not going to be easy to resolve.
Okay, thanks for summing up. Nalin, 30 seconds.
I think just as the BJP is replacing the Congress as the principal pole of Indian politics across the rest of India, with the exception of Karnataka at the moment, it's trying to make the same play in Kashmir, despite the Congress having residual pockets of vote share everywhere. And that is why this election is significantly important. From 11 seats, which was the highest last time, it's now making a play for somewhere in the 20s.
Karnataka, 30 seconds, I'm totally out of time.
I think what the strategy of Bharatiya Janata Party is to ensure that they have a larger stakeholding in J&K. Either they get the position of LOP, which will, give some political heft to them, or they should be in a position to influence the decision by having a group of political parties who have some say in the valley, like pressure groups which are there.
Okay, I'll leave you with this thought and I'll let Tehseen have the last word. 8 is what the Congress's states tally is, might get reduced to 6 in a couple of months' time. Tehseen, 30 seconds.
Well, from following Congress from following Congress icons, to Congress policies, to poaching Congress leaders. Congress Mukt Bharat that Modi speaks about is only a fantasy. There is nothing called Congress Mukt Bharat. However, the limited point that I want to make is this, that since you spoke about the Muslim rehabilitation that Modi is speaking about, trying to get Muslims on board, it would help if Modi ji in his 151 ministers across the country gave, except for one minister, more ministries, or in his own cabinet, more than two Muslims gave more ministries, not in the minority
So
affairs.
the bottom line we are drawing from here. Okay, Mr. Qayyum, I've got very little time. Go ahead, make your point quickly, please.
Last minute. The bottom line is that no single party is going to get the magical number of 44. The second thing is that both the BJP and the National Conference and the PDP are ready to do business with each other, and they might bloody have to do business with each other.
Many people are nodding their heads in the studio. Okay, all right. If that's how our viewers have heard it, I'm totally out of time. I'm leaving it there. There is some hope for the BJP in Jammu and Kashmir, but that's not the game changer it might be pitched as being. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much. We're coming out with a special broadcast of the Narendra Modi speech at Melbourne after this very short break.